Mr. Mayor, it's 7 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call the public hearing to order to hear comments on the annexation of 2324, annexation of 1317 Murraywood Court. Anybody here to address? Anybody here to address that? Anybody here to address that? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And I'm going to call the November 21st, 2023 Irmo Town Council meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation from Sir Bill Danielson. Yeah. To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, please guide us. We try to do our best work. Watch over council and the decisions we make. Alicia, continue for the health of our citizens. Family and God. Remember us and all of us. Pray to you in your name.
Approval of the agenda is a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
A second.
It's approved, second. Any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Reading in the minutes from October 17th, 2023. I'll receive those electronically. Are there any, is there a motion for approval of those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any changes to those minutes? Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Standing administrative briefing. We have received the administrative briefing electronically and looked it over. Mr., any changes for the administrative briefing for the council?
I just wanted to point out that the community park improvements have wrapped up, so we'll be doing a final inspection on that. And Corley Construction has done what I think fantastic job. So if you get a chance, ride through there and see the new sidewalks that they put in and the restriping that they did and all the painting. So the community park has been freshened up.
Okay. Are there any changes from Mr. Davis, from us? Seeing none. Do we have any new in town businesses?
New, Mr. Mayor. Aldi, Artistic Aspiration, Custom Computers, Aline Does Hair, Limitless Fishing Brands, M&C Loving and Caring Healthcare, Mopar Roadrunners, and Salty Siren Aesthetics Medical Spa.
Okay. Consideration of communications. Y'all join me down front. What? No. Hey, come on over here in the middle. Every month, we recognize a special business in Irmo, and this month is your month, Dr. Misty Ram. And this is a very special occasion because remember, gosh, 10 years ago, you opened that little practice over there next to McDonald's. And you grew so much, and you grew so much. Now you got that huge practice on the corner of Weed Drive. But anyway, this is recognizing you as being the Business of the Month, the Irmo Smiles Clinic. In the recognition of being the Small Business of the Month for the town of Irmo for the month of November 2023, we present this to you.
Thank you.
Now, we want you to say a few words about your practice. And I know you've been doing it for a minute now. So tell us about Irmo Smiles.
Well, I have been practicing proudly in Irmo since 2008 is whenever I first bought my practice. With the town's help, I was able to move from Westcott Road up to 7335. And about that time, my husband and I went on the Amazing Race together, and things just really took off, and we were extremely blessed to then grow quickly. In about 3 years, we were able to move up, like Mr. Berry said, up to 7321, and it's just been a gift and a blessing. I am a proud Irmo resident. I tell people this is the little sweet treasure in South Carolina that we have hidden. And I love our town, I love our city, and I love our people that are here to support, because I could not have done it without this council. You guys have been fantastic to me over the years, and I really appreciate it.
Well, congratulations, and again, Dr. Raymond, here you go.
Thank you.
Me?
Today is a special day. The last meeting for two of our council members and very important folks in this town. And Councilman Bush, I want to thank you so much for your service. Here to say a few words to you also. They just gave me the plaques and said hand them out to you. So, presented to Kelly Bush in appreciation for your loyal and dedicated service to the town of Irmo and its citizens as a council member from 2019 to 2023. Mr. Mayor, would you hit the stool?
Sure. Here you go, Kelly. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. A few words there, Kelly.
Let me put this.
That's very humbling, and thank the town of Irmo for putting your trust in me for 4 years.
I know, I'm moving the sound.
Okay.
All right, this is kind of weird, but it's okay. We'll get through it. This plaque is presented to Barry Walker Sr. in appreciation for your loyal and dedicated service to the town of Irmo and its citizens as a mayor and council member for almost 20 years by this math.
2000, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
19.
2004, I thought it was 19, wasn't it? It's wrong.
No, 2004 to 2023.
Almost 20.
Yeah.
It's good enough. I rounded up.
Good.
He has been a great mayor. He's been a great councilman. He has led this town through a lot of difficult times, and I humbly award this to him on behalf of the council, and thank you very much for your service.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. And after 20 years of doing this, it's time to retire and go fishing, so to speak.
You don't fish.
I go hunt.
There you go. There you go.
But thank you, Bill, and I appreciate council. You're leaving the town in good hands, I'm sure. You know, we have a new councilwoman coming on board, and we have another election coming on in a couple of months. So I'm sure Irmo will go on for the next 120 years. And you have to update your picture on the wall back there. And I need a copy for my plaque too. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Update from the Orchestra Commission. Is the Orchestra Commission here? Update or just a,
Well, financial, and I want to talk briefly about Mr. Dennis is handing you the most recent copy that we have of the 2023 budget. On the copy before you, you're going to see, I'm just going to hit the big numbers first. You're going to see our total revenues at 133,000 and some change, and our total expenditures at 148,000 and some change. Part of the reason that we have the lower revenues at the moment is there's $6,600 of a Richland County hospitality tax that we have not physically received yet, and it doesn't actually show up on the actual side until we receive it. Additionally, under corporate sponsorship, that line item of $48,000, that line item should be $57,050. There are 2 checks coming from corporate offices that have yet to make it to us. I am following up with those folks and making sure that we get those in before December 31st so that they'll count for this fiscal year. When we look at that, that brings our revenues to $149,000 and our expenditures at $148,000. So as I said in our last one, it looks like we're going to pretty much break even. I'm okay with that as the chair from last year because, as y'all are all familiar, the way our revenues work, we're a mixture of cash that we receive from pre-event sales and event sales, as well as some reimbursements from tax money that is spent for hospitality and accommodations. And so with that being said, I feel like we did a really good job this year of, even though we didn't hit our overall budget revenue goal of $171,000, we were able to keep our expenses down. I see that y'all are definitely studying the budget. Does anybody have any questions that are popping up? Sure. You'll also notice that this year down in the expenses, we had that miscellaneous line item still. I've actually talked to the town staff about for next year changing up and adding a couple of additional line items, and I'll bring that forward when we present next year's budget. There are a few things that happen last minute that kind of get thrown into miscellaneous, but I worked really, really hard this year to work with Mr. Dennis and also with Renee in the town office to make sure that as much that we could process through the town's bank account, we did so that we could apply it to the appropriate category and we weren't dealing with a bunch of reimbursements.
It was a miscellaneous, and it was just stuff.
Yeah, it's various things that we don't have a category for.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I didn't bring that specific piece of paper, which I should have.
I mean, one item would be like tablecloths that we needed
Yes.
to buy the day of the event. Just other little miscellaneous packing tape that we use to help tape up some of the signs.
Yeah, it's various miscellaneous things that just don't fall into a specific category.
Gotcha. Okay. About 24.
We good? Okay.
Yeah.
So 2024, I've already reached out to the Lexington Medical Center staff, and they have designed a 50th anniversary logo. I'm going to send that out via email. Our commission looked at it at our last meeting, and 2 meetings ago, and they thought it was a great design logo. It keeps the same logo design for the orchestra, just adds a 50th banner on it so that it can easily be put on anything that we do in 2024. But when we remove it, it's still our logo. We had Lauren, who's in the crowd today. She helps us on the commission. She's a voting commissioner, and she's also the person that's in charge of our entertainment. We have a new addition to the team, which is Buddy. He is also, both of them have a background in the entertainment world. And so we always relied heavily on them to go out and find entertainment options. They work with various talent scouts and agents to try to find options. I cannot tell you how many times before, during, and after the 2023 Ochre Strut that I heard, hey, next year we've got to go big. Hey, we've got to go big next year. So we investigated what going big looks like. And we investigated bands that would cost us somewhere around $100,000 to $130,000 for the bands themselves. We got some of those quotes back. The issue is when we start looking at those bands, the $100,000 to $130,000 range, that is just their cost for the band. We have to, as you already know, add in riders, add in production, add in all of the extra costs. So we ended up talking about options that would range us from about $30,000 to $300,000. Don't think any of the commission members were comfortable with the $300,000 price range, mostly because the question came up, where would we get the money? And so we talked and talked and talked. We talked about several things, but what we've kind of moved it down to is we have the option to book a band called 49 Winchester. They are a band that is on the rise. They are touring in 2024 with Luke Combs, and they are on the list of the up-and-comers next to Hit It Big. There's an option to get them. They're still expensive, but there's an option to get them for less than $100,000. We also talked about bands like the Queen tribute band called Absolute Queen, which is super popular right now, all the way down to some alternative options, which would be to bring in Bruno Mars, Prince, Shania Twain, and Taylor Swift tribute singers.
Oh, okay. I want to know how you bring Prince back.
And so that's where our options, what's that? She actually does. I've seen videos, and I'm going to forward videos to all of the council members. But the tribute singers do actually resemble the people that they're mimicking very well. So, yeah. So here's what the commission discussed, or excuse me, that's what the commission discussed, and what we kind of came up with is if we stick to a $60,000 entertainment budget like we did last year, which I think is pretty reasonable considering our budget, the Ochre Strut is doable with some of these options. However, if we want to get those bigger bands, we want to bring in 49 Winchester, we want to bring in that Absolute Queen band and have them perform for us at the 2024 Strut and have the production and have things like an LED video wall with a video crew that could be set up in a secondary part of the park so that people could enjoy the concert and don't have to be crowded in the actual stage area. We need more money. And so what the Ochre Strut Commission wanted to do is they wanted me to come up here, and I know you can't approve it right this second because it's not on the agenda officially, but we want to ask for an additional $60,000. That would move our entertainment budget from $60,000 to $120,000. That would allow us to get 49 Winchester, Absolute Queen, the full production team that it needs, the LED board, the video crew, and have a bigger, better 50th anniversary for 2024. So that's kind of where we are sitting at the moment. If that's something that we can do, we'll need to get that on the agenda so that we can get it officially approved. We can get the offers approved like we do every year. We've got to move quick because with those guys being on tour, they're going to book fast. We're already kind of sweating bullets back here, hoping that, reaching out to them in December with an offer is going to be enough. That's kind of where we are at the moment. We've also, our December meeting, we're inviting some more public members that have ideas that they want to bring to the Strut. There's people that want to do a beauty pageant. There's people that have talked about incorporating a car show in some way. What were some of the other ideas that popped out of that? Scavenger hunts, do some art contests with the T-shirts this year. There was a lot of discussion about trying to incorporate the local businesses the week of the Strut to help generate buzz within the town. all of our marketing, most of our marketing dollars go outside of Irmo, outside of Richland County, to draw people in. But one of the things that we noticed this year, where there were a lot of people that said, oh, that's this weekend? Oops, I've already got plans. So we really want to try to start pushing that. So we talked about some ideas to incorporate local businesses the week of or even a couple weeks before.
That consultant couldn't help you all out as far as getting the band.
So when we did discuss the consultant, and the commission decided to not use the consultant this year. And so I actually had reached out to the consultant, talked to her. She wasn't going to work with us in terms of making band suggestions until we went under contract with her, which is understandable. But we also left it in a positive way so that we can work with her in the future if that does come up again.
You have to put these out for bids like you did previously, so the first one who responds back for a reasonable number, is this the same process we've used before?
That is our desire, yes. So our desire is we're going to chat as a commission. Our hope was to kind of get an idea whether or not the 60 would be doable. We're going to chat as a commission and come up with our priorities. Here's who we would like to go to first, second, and third. Present that to y'all so that y'all can actually approve it. And then we would reach out to the agents and make the offers. And then you're right. If the first one says no, we've already got approval to go to the second one, and we don't have to wait until the January or February council meeting.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Community Connections, Dr. Wallman.
Thank you, Mayor Walker. We have, again, a sort of long list tonight. It's holiday season. There's a lot of things going on. The first one that I wanted to mention to everyone is that on November 30th at 10 a.m. at the Rawls Creek Park, there will be ribbon cutting for the Town of Irmo Dog Park. Then on November 28th is the Town of Irmo Christmas tree lighting at the Irmo Town Park. That's the park right across the street, and that's at 6 p.m. The Shop with a Cop event is happening again this year. This is an event sponsored by the Irmo Police Department Community Foundation, and they generate funds. They're asking for donations so that they can then use those donations to allow needy families to go shopping with the Irmo Police Department. And there's Toys for Tots collection going on now at the Irmo Town Hall. There's a drop-off box there, so if you have any new unwrapped toys for children of all ages, they would appreciate dropping them off there for Toys for Tots. The Lexington Richland School District 5 is having a series of magnet information nights. Each school that hosts a magnet program is having a specific information night. This slide just shows you, some of these have already happened. Harbison West and Dutch Fork High School's STEM program have already occurred, but there's several that are coming up in December and January that you might be interested in. So this slide tells you all the different schools, the dates of those information nights, and the times. Irmo High School Student Council is sponsoring a blood drive on Monday, November 27th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is open to community members as well as students at the school. They just ask that you register, make an appointment for this blood donation. This is in their media center, and you can park in the stadium parking lot to get into the media center. If you'd like to donate blood, visit www.redcrossblood.org, make an appointment, and use the sponsor code IRMOHS. There will be two dates of hands-only CPR training at the Harbison Community Center on Wednesday, November 29th at 11 a.m. and at noon, and then again on November 30th at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. And again, this is at the Harbison Community Center at 106 Hillpine Road, and you can call 803-781-2281 to register for any of these sessions. The Living Christmas Story is going to be taking place at Union United Methodist Church December 1st through 3rd from 6:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. Irmo High School is hosting their annual Goodwill Brunch for senior members of the community on December 7th from 9 to 11:30 a.m. This is open to all seniors in the community. There will be a brunch, and there will also be performances by the students in the various art areas at Irmo High School. And they're asking that you please RSVP for this brunch by Thursday, November 30th. You can respond by email to ihsevents@lexridge5.org or by calling 803-476-3011. The Harbison Association is hosting a senior Christmas luncheon on Thursday, December 7th at noon. This is at the Harbison Community Center. This is a $10 per person lunch. And the way to respond to this, I guess, is to just contact the Harbison Community Center. District 5, School District 5 is holding a recruitment event at Irmo Middle School on January 6th from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is for teachers, certified staff, and support staff. The Irmo Chili Cook-Off and Car Show will take place on January 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you're interested in registering for the car show or participating in the Chili Cook-Off, please contact Jen Rayburn, 803-457-4103. And the 2023-24 South Carolina Young Filmmakers Project has announced their deadline, March 18th, 2024. This is an opportunity for middle school and high school students that are interested in making a short film to try to enter this contest. It is open to students in grades 6 through 12. And if you go to indiegrants.org, you can get complete information on what's required for that filmmaking project. And that concludes my announcements.
You didn't say anything about the Irmo High School football team. They're on a roll, and if you know, and they're going to playoffs, looks like.
Right, they're going to lower state playoffs.
Right. Like we did the basketball team when they won state championship. I think y'all need to prepare for a football team to honor them the same way. You know, I'm just suggestion. We had, yeah, maybe it'd be a Dutch Fork Irmo High School playoff final, you know? Anyway, I was just throwing that out there. We can keep that on your radar. Thank you, Dr. Waldman. Anything else from the, seeing none? Presentation by citizens on agenda items. Anybody wants to come speak to us on agenda items, they're welcome to. Not going on to unfinished business. Second final reading of ordinance 2324 to annex the 1370 Murraywood Court.
So move.
Is there a second? Is there a signature? Signature?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I'm in favor. If someone wants to join the town and it makes sense.
Mr. Bush?
I think it made it through the earlier hearing without any objections, so I'm all in.
Dr. Waldman?
I support it.
Mr. Danielson?
Yes, sir, I'm good.
Okay, will the clerk read the roll?
Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
and Mayor Walker.
Yes. This first reading of ordinance 2323. This is the zoning and land development and sign regulations. Planning Commission. Is there a motion for first reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Sickinger.
There's a lot to go through here. Does it make sense for us to go through kind of sequentially, but I'm not sure how we want to tackle this. Just go person by person.
Well, personally, I'd like for y'all to wait until the new council gets seated, then y'all can have at it. I mean, we're supposed to have that at a workshop, we can go through all that detail.
Is that a,
You got the floor.
yes, oh, well, I'll yield then.
Mr. Bush,
I will yield.
Dr. Wallman,
I'm prepared to vote on this tonight we have seen this for a while now, and it's, the Planning Commission saw this in September and approved it. I think if there's questions about any part of it, we could address them, but I think we could move on with first reading tonight.
so, Mr. Danielson.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Waldman. I think we need to at least go ahead and get the first reading behind us. And we can fine tune it before we have the second reading and final approval. I too am ready to vote, but there's a couple of things in there that I would like and a couple of things that I wouldn't like. So I think we should hash that out.
All right, so let's sit down and hash them out then, okay?
Yeah, I'm saying I think we could hash that out in a work session prior to the next meeting. So we could approve the first reading, and then we can make some changes. Well,
Saying you want to do it at a work session, or you want to go ahead and vote on this now? Entitle them, is that? Okay. All right, we're talking about 2323. And are you done, Mr. Dennison? There's a lot of things in here that I'd like to talk about. This is dealing with sign ordinances in the town. Couple of things that we have in here under the proposed ordinance. And this is a total rewrite of the sign ordinances that we have on file right now. But one is the, under temporary signs, letter R, and the requirements under section B, I apologize, section C requirements and the subsection C requirements. And it says here, during a 30-day period prior to all political and primary election, 7 days following such event, there's a maximum number of temporary signs can be put on people's property. It also goes into the sizes and stuff like that, but that section, I think, should be stricken out of here. Our political sign period is from basically August 17th or August until the day after the election, which is the first Tuesday in November, which, a couple days after that, 7 days after that, sure, whatever that falls on. But that's only basically a 45-day, 50-day period of campaigning where people can put out signs and advertise who they are and how to get their name out there. If you restrict it to 30 days prior to the election, that kills anybody new trying to get their name out and gives an advantage to the incumbents, which is fine if you want to keep it that way. But that's a disadvantage to coming in. So I think we need to excuse me.
I just wanted to agree with you on that. Do you mind if I jump in real quick? Just on
Yeah,
that.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
The other concern that I have about limiting it to 30 days is also, I want to encourage people to be able to run for council and not only those who can completely determine their own schedule or are retired. And if you are working a 9 to 5 or, 40, 50-hour work week, trying to get out all your signs in 30 days is going to be really challenging. So I think that's just an additional point on that.
I got you. So if we change that to the election period, which, again, our election period starts in August, let's say August 15th, the middle of August when we sign up, till the day after the election. And they give them a grace period to get all signs removed by that time. That's what I think that should be changed to. And so I don't know if you want to make that modification here or just remove this section for now and add it back in later.
I think my recommendation, if the council agrees, would be just to collect the feedback that we have today and not do all the Roberts Rules modification stuff, but collect all the feedback so that changes can be made and thought can be put into it, and then we can hash out the final Roberts Rules stuff in the next meeting.
And then also you talk about the size of signs in here. Now, there's certainly the standard, whatever that standard size is you buy from the sign company. If we make it an odd size, it's going to make it more expensive to do signs. So these sign companies, especially the ones online that you can call up and do all your sign ordering through the internet, they have standard sizes in there. And I believe that they were talking about different sizes other than the ones that are standard on those. I can't remember where that is offhand, but I remember reading it in here. Somebody else had mentioned that we have our elections on the odd year, and then the even years is when they have the presidential elections. And so if you wanted to have a differentiation between the local odd year election and the even year presidential elections, that's certainly something you could look at. If you want to have a restriction on signs. Again, our period of signage is during the election period, which is August through November. Also in here was a restriction on having those inflatable signs. What do you call them? Those little guys that blow up and wave. Yeah,
Like the inflatable arm flailing tube man or something like that.
yeah, exactly. And again, I think is not permitted at all, but I think it needs to be an exception in the table on page. Make it a by, what is it, section, permissible by special exception? Table, it's not in here now. That's a little waivable sign. Also, one more is searchlights, those kind of signs with the very searchlights and stuff like that. That's not in here. That's saying that that's illegal all the way around. I think you need to do that by special exception also from the administrator. That's not something that's on every night. It's like for it's the 50th orchestra, they may decide they want to have a searchlight out there. And everybody know that this is the 50th orchestra. And the searchlight is something to draw attention to the event that one night, Friday night. Those are the two things that stuck out at me on the sign ordinance.
I have a few. Thank First question is, based on the revised sign ordinance, do you have a general idea of how many current signs are not within code as a percentage, or a general idea of how many would be not allowed if they were put up today?
Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. I would say, I mean, they would be considered legal non-conforming.
Right.
So unless they were going to do repair work over 50% of the value of the sign, they'd be allowed to remain forever. So even refacing them wouldn't cause them to come out of compliance. If we wanted to remove the sign and rebuild it, it would have to come into the new code.
The reason for the question is to understand, based on how the signs are put up today, how that would impact how businesses advertise or put their signs up today. Like, in other words, starting tomorrow, after the second reading, being able to look at those signs that are no longer conforming and say, oh, well, I can see why it's no longer conforming, or try to understand kind of the context of the real-world application of what we're actually talking about here outside of that.
Well, one of the things I tried to do when rewriting this was, this ordinance, while it is a complete rewrite in the sense of where things are in the ordinance, the actual numbers for height, distance from the road, square area of the face, those numbers really haven't changed. There's very, very few changes. And so the signs that have been allowed for the last 10 years are more or less still allowed after this ordinance. I think the only major changes are allowing electric message centers in commercial areas where we haven't allowed those recently, allowing signs on the sides of buildings. So it's actually, in some ways, it's more permissive than it has been. I don't think there'd be very many signs that we would see today, other than maybe very old ones that are outside of any code in memory, that we would not allow to be rebuilt as they are currently.
Thank you. I wanted to point out holiday decorations, and I just want to see if we can add some clarification language that it applies only to displays and not just lights, because I certainly don't want to have a code that, because they have to take down their Christmas lights by January 15th. I had one other primary one. Stay with me while I flip pages. I wanted to ask about changeable copy portable signs. So my perception of those is the ones that are in front of like churches sometimes, or is that what we're talking about when we're talking about those
That kind of
portable?
traditional yellow box with the big arrow on top.
Right.
Those have been pretty much outlawed in most places for quite a while. But that's really what that means. The more modern version being the black one with the Day-Glo stick-in letters. That's what those signs would be referring to.
You know those black signs with the neon letters? Yeah. That's what.
I take back my yielding. That is the number 10, for those of you following along at home, section 5.4, prohibited signs, number 10. Identify or advertise a product or business not located on the premises. And that has been a problem, a sticky widget in the past. And effectively saying that no advertising signs are allowed in the town. And I just wanted to clarify if that was a whole cloth copy paste, or I thought that we had made some changes to allow that. I wasn't able to do my homework on that one.
What number? Number 10? you said?
Number 10, yeah, it's basically advertising a service or thing that's not being sold at that location.
This is new, so it does not refer to the existing code.
Okay.
Generally, this is what's used for billboards.
Right, okay. I have an issue with that, but just put it on the list.
Bill?
Yeah, it would be repetitive to discuss some of the things that have already come up. Personally, I'm not a fan of searchlights. I don't find them horrendous on a special occasion, under a special, very brief permit. It's distractive to people who are driving around, and Lord knows we have enough trouble driving around the town of Irmo right now. So as far as some of the election signs, things, I can live with 45 days, I heard, or even be somewhere in the term, as you suggested, Mr. Mayor. But I think we need to be careful because people get really tired of these signs out there. And I think this last election, all of the candidates did a great job working together to get all these signs down as quickly as possible. So signs are an issue. And I think we need to be careful about how we go about this. And if you're recommending that we make these changes prior to the second reading, and we can agree on all these items, be good with that. But we determine what laundry list needs to be changed. And how we're going to do that before the 5th, if we can do that before the 5th.
I'll have Doug put together, I'm taking the notes, and we'll try to put together a draft amendment. And then if somebody wants to sponsor that, we'll work with that sponsor to dial it in to make sure it includes everything that has been talked about. So if something from your list gets left off, we'll let you know, and you can sponsor another amendment to it.
Mr. Bush?
I yield. I mean, this is going to a second reading, make the amendments like you said.
Yeah, I've gone through all of this and asked Doug a lot of questions about it. I do agree with the searchlights. I think that there may be an occasional use for those, but if we do allow them, that should be a special exception with a very defined control over when those would be used.
Okay, will the clerk call the roll, please? Blah, blah, blah.
Mr. Bush?
Yay.
Mr. Danielson?
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger?
Yes.
Dr. Waldman?
Yes.
And Mayor Walker?
Yes. Moving on to next item, 20. Ordinance 2325 to amend the zoning and land development, Articles 1 to 3. We got that electronically also. Is there a motion for first reading approval?
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Sickinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Couple things, I'm sure my fellow council members will call out a bunch of other items, but the ones that stuck out to me were daycare centers. I believe that we had allowed, or maybe it's just a different NAICS code, but allowed like in-home daycare centers. I'm not different term or not, but does that fall under daycare centers, or is that a different NAICS code?
Yeah, in-home daycare centers are always allowed in the home as long as DHEC signs off on it. But the NICS code really kind of refers to the entire structure. And so lots of in-home businesses are allowed in residential areas, but they're not really listed as allowable in the use table. Like
Got it.
consultants and stuff like that.
Thank you. The other item that I noticed, and this is one of those things that where I'm glad that we can see this now and not in the moment when someone tries to propose a project, which is performing arts, spectator sports, and related industries. I think those exceptions or conditional, not permitted. That's just a concern that I don't think anyone's going to set up like a Kroger Center here, but if they do, it's nice for us to be able to have that extra little piece there. The last thing I had, just picking on the major items here, was still missing a additional definition of what a patio home is. So we call them patio homes, but
The entire patio home issue was basically deferred by the planning commission because they had some serious questions about defining them, the number that should be allowed. And so that was in an original draft of this that went to planning commission back in September. It is going back to planning commission in December. So that portion of this ordinance will be coming to y'all in December or January.
Awesome, thank you.
Being generally in favor, I'll yield my time.
Dr. Wallman,
I'm in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, I'm in favor. Patio homes and their development are crucial. So deal with that when you bring it to the table.
special exception, that's, you're saying you have to go to the to the ZBA for that? Can we go to the administrator? Make a ruling on it? Is that what you're understanding?
The SE would go to the ZBA, yeah.
You don't, I thought there was something you tried to change so you can go to the zoning administrator and not have to go to the planning.
I mean, I'm okay with that too. I mean, if it's written that way, that it goes to the zoning administrator first and they can appeal to the ZBA,
Yeah.
that's fine.
The reason why I'm asking, because under, we're adding a new category, cigarettes, cigar stores, vape shops. That's being added, and that's a special exception in general commercial and light manufacturing. I don't think it's it's not in neighborhood commercial. But if somebody wanted to open a cigar store, that's certainly not a vape store, it's not a hookah lounge. It's a serious, buy some high-quality cigars, and if you want to smoke them inside the place, you should be able to do that, but it's got an SE, special exception, in those general commercial areas. So my thing is, do we make it go to the zoning administrator first and then go to ZBA? Straight to ZBA without the administrator?
It would go to the zoning, my reading of it is it would go to the zoning administrator, and then if they don't like the finding of the zoning administrator, then it goes to the ZBA. So it wouldn't be two
No,
stops.
I don't
every
see that
time.
in here. Where's that at, in here like that? I'm just saying, I don't see it in here. Written like that, that's what I'm saying. Does anybody have an idea where that is? Yeah, I got that. It's in this table.
Any special exception must go to the ZBA. If it's a conditional use, it goes
Conditional,
to the zoning
there it is.
administrator. And if it's by right, it's by right.
Then that's what I'm saying, I think that should be changed to conditional. Doesn't get the satisfaction that the zoning administrator like, then they can appeal it to the ZBA. So that's just vape shops, cigar stores, cigarette stores, under commercial general light manufacturing. Right now, it's being proposed as SE, special exception. I think it should be conditional.
Generally amenable to making cigar shops. but
Well, either take cigar stores out
Right.
and then do it
That
that way.
conditional?
That's fine.
Different type of business.
Okay. Bill?
I believe it should remain as written under special exception. There are a lot of places where it probably wouldn't want a cigar shop. And that, ZBA, not prohibiting them. We need to be careful about where they go, vape shops, other tobacco product type shops. That's just how I feel about it, but I will.
Okay, anybody else?
I agree with Mr. Danielson on the vape shops being a special exception rather than a conditional use, because conditional use is automatic as soon as they meet the conditions that are spelled out in the conditional use, whereas the special exception allows the Board of Zoning Appeals to keep a closer eye on that in terms of where they will be located and what the surrounding areas are.
Can one of the conditions be that they have approval from the zoning administrator?
Well, maybe y'all just need to take cigar stores out of that. Have another line for that. That's just my suggestion. All right? So I can open a cigar store. All right, any more comments? The clerk read the roll.
Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Dr. Waldman,
Yes.
and Mayor Walker.
No. All right, presentation by citizens. Thank you so much for sticking through all of this. This is your opportunity to come and tell council what you want us to know. It's not a debate. You have 3 minutes to give us your comments. Is there anybody who would like to come up and give us a presentation? Just come on up. Come on up. Give us your name. Since you didn't sign in.
And my thing is about the ordinance that you're advocating other residents to be associated with the town of Irmo. I live at 101
I
Lake
don't
Mary
hear, is
Boulevard.
this mic on? I don't,
I'm talking loud enough?
no, I just want to make sure your mic is turned up because I couldn't. Sound like it was coming through, that's all.
I want to understand why you can annex everything else into Irmo that's not Irmo from Lexington. And I live here in Irmo, and I'm not a city resident of Irmo. Irmo, 101 Lake Mary Boulevard, 29063. And the people that you're annexing into Irmo, whether they're a business or whatever, why can't a citizen be recognized the same way as you recognize a business? That we can vote for things that happen in Irmo. I can't vote for nothing in Irmo because of how y'all have had this ordinance set up for zoning. And I listen at y'all tonight, and y'all all not in agreement with everything. We're gonna get a new mayor, and he's not in agreement with stuff. And I'm gonna be here every time y'all meet because I wanna see what's going on in my town. Even though I can't vote, I'm still a citizen. And I have a right to represent how I feel. And all the things that are happening in Irmo, all the changes that are happening in Irmo, it don't affect minorities. Change Harbison Institute to Midland Tech. All the schools that are folks went to, y'all changed it to a different name. Don't represent none of us. We're gonna be working on that. You got to believe this now and forever, as y'all sit on council. Marion Board gonna be speaking because we're gonna be sure that black folks are gonna continue to be represented in the town of Irmo. The notable blacks and the blacks that nobody, y'all don't even know about them because y'all don't live here. Ain't none of y'all no residents of Irmo. Y'all on council, but y'all not from Irmo. And y'all don't know what struggles we went through to get to where we have been all my life. I have a house. All of them was police officers because that's they never were charged. And I still live the same place because that's home. And you ain't running me away, but y'all need to change your ordinance to reflect all the black folks that live in the 29063 Irmo, Kinley Road, and all those people went to school here, and y'all don't recognize them as can vote for what we got representing us here tonight. I can't vote for y'all representatives, but y'all give me a chance to speak, and I appreciate that. But I want to be sure that from now on, I'll be 76 years old December the 8th. Y'all wish me happy birthday? And I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm going to be here. Y'all treat everybody in Irmo fair, black or white. Because we was raised here, and y'all come from another place, and y'all represent Irmo. Y'all don't have the love for Irmo like we do. Do you? I don't believe it. Show me. Ain't none of y'all born and raised in Irmo. But you come up here and represent Irmo folks as if you are part of Irmo. And you go home at night and you don't miss no sleep. But we do, because we have to suffer what y'all do. Please make y'all changes to affect the citizens that live here in Irmo, that make recommendations and changes that annex all of us into the city of Irmo.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Appreciate your
Thank you for
comments.
cutting me off. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak? Anybody? Oh, okay, come up, tell us your name. Well, I know who your name is. Councilwoman-elect.
My name is Phyllis Coleman. I reside at 7336 Morris Street in Irmo. Just a couple of things I wanted to commend you, Mayor and Councilman Sickinger, supporting keeping the sign ordinance, at least for right now, the same length of time that it's always been in the town of Irmo. I understand that there was some debate and that reached kind of a fever pitch in a subdivision, and that's where that particular discussion needed to remain. Otherwise, we're setting a precedent that HOAs can start dictating what the whole town does, and so I just wanted to point that out. The other thing, it has to do with just meetings in general. While y'all were talking about the ordinance, it would have been nice maybe if you had a QR code or something so that we could have scanned with our phones and followed along with you, because we kind of get lost out here in the audience while you're going, page by page or line by line. That's just a little nit, just as a regular person sitting out here in the meeting. To my knowledge, those are free to put on your printed paper, and it just makes it easier for us to follow along with you. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, is there executive session, discussion? No. Executive session, none. Make a motion for adjournment. All in favor of adjourning?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.